Hey VC, what's up? It's me, yours truly. I am back to post a quick video here. Actually, a contest response for Dan at Dots and Loops Records and Films. He put up I think actually it's kind of his first contest, and I saw the post a few days ago and had it saved in my favorites. And this Saturday morning, finally got a chance to kind of sit down and do a response to it. And I'm actually going to try to do a response to a couple of contests this morning that I've been meaning to get to. So yeah, Dan, man, congratulations. I said I think if I remember correctly, I think you said this was your first contest, so definitely want to kind of jump on board. One of those nice, kind of simple, right to the point type of questions, which was good, and it was I think he calls this "I Like It." I think is the name of the contest, and it's just kind of shows some stuff that you really like that maybe you kind of know or kind of get the impression that a lot of other people don't, kind of thing. So almost like your kind of your guilty pleasures type of thing. So for those of you that have been following, Mr. Hall of Fame's channel for some time, as you guys know, I have plenty of that stuff in my collection because I've always been kind of a freak like that. But whenever something rings good in my ear, I don't care, what it is. It's just if it rings good in my ear, I gotta have it. So, and another thing too that I always like to say about my collection as well, because I think it kind of ties in well with this, is that I don't ever have anything in my collection just for collection's sake. I mean, I may have multiple pressings of something or something of that nature, but what I mean is every single album I have, every vinyl, every CD, every cassette is something I actually like. I don't have it just like as a filler or, blah, blah, blah. So, so here's a stack of some of the stuff I like that I'm sure a lot of other people might have some issues with. So let's just kind of jump right into it. One of the first ones that popped in my mind, of course, little Justin Bieber. I'm sure this is one that a lot of people could easily say they don't like. But, again, as, cheesy and manufactured as all this stuff was, which typically is kind of that one area that I hate about music in general. As one of the artists, I'll kind of say the same thing about, just that poppy radio, so simple, no nothing to it, just made to be big for a few months and then kind of fade. Still, even with that, like that song "Baby" and a couple other things on this, how can I say? I listened to it and there's something about it that sounds good. So I have to kind of, sit and discuss sometimes and listen to some different things on this album, but I have it because I like it. So that's definitely one that's right there on that fits in that category. Celine Dion, I just showed this a video or two ago because I just got this not too long ago. But yeah, I do love me some Celine. Off of this stuff like The Power of Love and Misled and a few other things. I mean, again, this is my first album that I really gained by her. But again, I love her in general. Whether it's stuff from this to, you know, of course you have stuff like My Heart Will Go On from Titanic, which just got so played out that it's like one of the most disgusting things ever. I liked it when I first heard it, and then I can't stand it now. But then other stuff like the cover she did of First Time I Ever Saw Your Face and things like that. I mean, I love Celine without question, and that's a great album by her. And of course, a little Jewel. I think that fits well in this category. Pieces of You. This is also a pretty good album as well. You have stuff like Who'll Save Your Soul and You Were Meant for Me were kind of the two big hits off of this. The interesting thing I find about this album is that like all when you go through the songs, they are all every single one of them are either complete hit or complete miss. There's not a lot of okay in between songs on this album. When the songs are good, they're good, but when they're crappy, it's like, ugh. So, but still, great album, and I certainly love Jewel. And how about a little Ricky Martin, Living La Vida Loca? Again, kind of that same thing, something gets played around you enough, it starts to get beaten into your head a bit. And this is actually a sealed copy. I got this for $8 a number of years ago, and I looked it up the other day. It's actually worth a little bit. So I have a CD. Whenever I want to listen to Little Ricky, I usually play the CD. But yeah, so that's another one that definitely fits on that. A lot of people dislike lists. Not sure about this one, but I thought this might fit into that category, especially those that are kind of into metal and hair metal. This is Vixen. I'm sure you guys probably remember them from the 80s. They had a couple of hits like Edge of a Broken Heart was probably my favorite song by them. And then also I think Crying was like a good 12-inch single for them. But yeah, just kind of some of the ladies of the hair 80s. And I mean, I love them to death, but can't say I've ever seen anyone talk about Vixen here in the VC. Then again, there are like, a million videos I haven't seen, so I'm sure someone has. But I thought that might be one that fits in this category. I'm sure this one fits in there. Wilson Phillips. I didn't like them as much when they first came out, but just kind of over time, it's just some of the things they had kind of caught my ear. And on this you have, some of their biggest hits like Hold On, and which is probably my least favorite of their hits. But songs like Release Me, and actually my favorite song by them, which is Give It Up, and that's not on this album. I have the CD of that, but yeah, they were what they were in the day, that 90s pop stuff. And so, but yeah, I like them. Not to mention I had a huge crush on what's her name, so that didn't hurt. And my girl, ooh, almost dropped that, Laura Branigan. That is one of my girls from the 80s. I love me some Laura. Have a few of her albums actually, but this is the one that has Gloria on it, which of course was a huge hit for her. My favorite album by her is probably Self Control. It is Self Control. With songs like Lucky One that's on there, and of course the title track Self Control. Like I said, this one has Glory and a couple other things on there, but yeah, she was definitely one of my queens of the 80s. I love Laura. So that's one I put on that list. Excuse me. And of course, Taylor Swiftie, another one that fits well in this category. And the funny thing is, when I was looking through my, picking out something for this contest, there was actually a few different Taylor Swift options I had in my vinyl collection, so I just happened to pick this one. But, yeah, again, this kind of revolves around that same thing I was saying about Justin Bieber. Taylor pretty much went pop country, which to me is probably one of the, and I'm not saying this to put her down in any way, I'm just saying it kind of just from a musical observation. I think pop country is probably one of the easiest ways to sell out within music, because it doesn't take much to be accomplished with pop country. It just seems like the most simple elements of all music is within pop country type of stuff. But again, even inside of that, and that's the one thing I always say about Taylor Swift, and maybe this is a part where, success, and maybe you can call it sly genius or whatever, comes from. Even though she has so much stuff that represents what I despise most about music, I like a lot of it. So something is going on there. When you can make someone that says, I hate what you do, but I like it, I guess you have to give someone credit for that. And she's definitely one. So stuff like Off of Here, Back to December is a good track. Mine is a good track. There's a number of different things on this. And of course, 1989, I love that album too. So Taylor's definitely one that I like, that I'm sure a lot of people cannot stand. Just a couple more here. Frankie Avalon. I'm guessing people kind of don't like this as much. I was gonna pick Neil Diamond, but I think there are a lot more Neil Diamond fans out there than probably Frankie Avalon. Neil's kind of the man in my opinion, but yeah, Frankie Avalon. I love telling this story. I'll tell a story really quick. Kind of how I first started listening to him, because I've heard the name, of course, but just never listened to his stuff. And if you guys remember that documentary, A Headbanger's Journey, Evolution of Metal, I forgot the guy's names from Canada or whatever. But anyway, a number of years ago, he did this documentary. Great DVD set you ought to order if you're a metal fan and haven't seen it or don't own it. But he basically just kind of did this huge part documentary where he just tracked the evolution of heavy metal. So he went back to all the different phases, early hard rock to, he does the grunge phase, he does the hair metal phase, he does the British invasion, like all that different stuff. It's really cool. But in one of the things he was doing, he was talking about how there was a dead period in music. So it was kind of looking for, you know, some other things. It was kind of like his way of explaining why this other hard rock type of music and everything came about. And in kind of showing some examples of the stuff that sucked during that time, he played a video of a clip of Frankie Avalon singing Venus. And, he's just, again talking about just how crappy it was. Well, I'm sitting there, all into this, head-banging documentary, and I hear that clip, and I'm like, I kind of like that, And so, Headbanger's journey was what introduced me to Frankie Avalon, as far as like really knowing his stuff. So I picked up a couple of CDs and this album, and yeah, I mean Venus, again, that's probably my favorite song by him. But anyway, I don't know, that story always cracks me up, so I like telling it. And then I just got 3 quick ones here. Of course, Barry Manilow. He's always the easy one to make fun of. But, the guy's a legend in his own time. He made his name, did his thing. A number of good tracks on this, and I have a number of different Barry Manilow albums, too. But I would say probably my favorite song by him is I Made It Through the Rain. I mean, I always love hearing him perform that. I think that's a really, really cool track. And then the last 2, this is that time period in the 80s when, well, you'll see what I'm talking about. Don Johnson. So, this was back in the 80s when you had a big hit TV show or a big hit movie, and all of a sudden you thought, well, I could just jump into the record, into the music industry and make an album, and even though I can't sing worth a crap. And Don Johnson's Heartbeat is probably one of the best examples of that. And then of course the title track Heartbeat is I don't know. There's something about that song because again, it's the cheesiest thing in the world. And when I listen to it, I get embarrassed for him. Like even to this day, like when you get embarrassed at certain feelings and your body starts reacting in a certain way, I feel that every time I listen to this song. But it's a catchy little thing. It's almost like watching a comedy show over and over, and I love it. So he's definitely on that list. Don Johnson with Heartbeat, and then the exact same thing with Eddie Murphy. Exact same thing. Oh, I'm a big movie star and blah, 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 so I guess I'll just go ahead and, try to throw down a record. And I think, too, I don't even know how much this was on purpose, so to speak, but Eddie Murphy was really good friends with Rick James, and something happened where he was hanging out with Rick, and they got caught in a snowstorm. And so he ended up getting snowed in at Rick James's place for, I don't know how many days it was, and that was part of the time when they started putting this together. So, again, I don't remember the whole story, if it was intentional or if it was total accident, but, songs like Party All the Time was kind of a hit. And again, very fun to listen to, and it kind of gives me that same feeling I was talking about with Don Johnson. And there's 1 or 2 other okay songs on here, but really for the most part, outside of those, the rest of the album's kind of like blah. But those couple though, I love them to death, and I do listen to Party All the Time every now and then. So anyway, I think that's a good stack, a very good representation of stuff I like that maybe other people might not find as. But yeah, man. Again, congratulations on doing your first contest. Glad I had the chance to kind of jump in. And as always, VC, let me know what you think. Keep the thumbs down to a minimum if you would. And we'll talk to you later, guys.